But then I think the thing that most out of my comfort zone recently, I did the naked comedy show. Yeah,
Ass naked, or you still had your
completely
underwear on?
naked.
Dick out, balls out.
Yep.
Whoa.
So that was pretty terrifying.
The thing that would be going through my head is this, like, like if I chuckle or laugh, because I'm a big comic that laughs at my own jokes.
Yeah.
If I chuckle or laugh when I'm naked, everything starts shaking, jiggling.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, I will say there's like all types of body types and stuff. I mean, I think you look like you're in good shape. You're doing great or whatever. But
he was struggling to even say that. He was like, "You look."
No, but
All right. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Raj Against the Machine. This week, we got the super funny Jacob Williams, who lives right here in Astoria.
yeah.
Wait, hold on. I don't need to tell everybody where you live.
That's fine. I don't think I'm that famous.
That's your thing.
That's going to be an issue.
That's my thing. I don't know why that became my thing. Sorry.
I don't think. It's fine if you say what borough I live. Okay. I don't think anyone's going to find me from.
We're keeping this in. That's his thing. He just tells all the comedians. I
tell the viewers where everybody lives for some reason.
I probably shouldn't have given you my address and social security number as my intro.
So Jacob Williams, social security number 112. No, sorry. But yeah, he's super funny. I've actually met him on the scene 10 years ago.
Yeah,
we
probably.
were doing
wow.
For me it was Bringer Show days, but I think you were coming in to do spots and stuff.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I moved here in 2014, so maybe it was shortly after I moved here. And yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
wow, it's been a while.
And I think I met you right when you were on Wild and Out. Like you just got on Wild and Out and things were blowing up.
Okay, yeah, I started doing that in 2013, and I've done about 12 seasons now. That's been a lot of fun. So yeah, I always love being a part of it, and whenever I get to do it.
Heck yeah! And I think you were notorious for being like the first white guy cast on the show, right?
Oh, I don't know about the first, but I was like
one of the few.
The first one on the reboot, maybe, because the original cast included. I think they had the first 4 seasons. They had I want to say Rob Hoffman, who I don't know, but Mikey Day, who's great. He was still there when I came on, and Taran Killam, I think
Was Matt Rife before or after you?
He came in after me on Wild and Out.
Yeah. Okay.
And then he just shot past me career-wise. But yeah, he's. I'm very happy for him. He's always been super nice to me and super funny. So I think it's awesome that he's
heck yeah,
killing it. But yeah, no, that show was always a lot of fun. Yeah, when my first season, I guess Pete Davidson joined the same time I did, and Mikey Day was still there before he did SNL.
Whoa.
He was always coming up with great ideas. He came up with this white boy rap battle thing I did with him on my first season. That was his idea, to do two guys battling each other about the whitest things possible. But he's always had a really creative. I already liked his David Blaine videos when I was in high school. So I'm so happy he ended up on SNL and everything.
Wait a second.
You just realized Mikey Day is the David Blaine guy?
Was that? Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. He was from what I know, he was started with Groundlings in LA and did that and a lot of other great characters before he did. Yeah.
Classic.
Whoa, that's crazy. You didn't know that.
I swear to God, I knew that.
You knew that the whole time?
Yes. Well, not the whole time. I think at some point I was watching Wild Out, and I was like, oh shit, that's the dude from...
The David Blaine guy.
Yeah, he's great.
Wow. That's so crazy.
Oh, I mean, even last week, he had a really funny thing on Weekend Update where he was a guy who just walked through a spider web, and it was supposed to be about him talking about terrorists, but then he's just has this great physical comedy bit about freaking out about the spider and tearing his clothes off. It was just the commitment level is just insane, which is I try to do the opposite and not commit at all to emotions. So he's I'm really respect people that can pull that off.
For sure. I mean I've seen a couple of your once again, I don't think I've ever seen a full episode from beginning to end, but I've definitely seen compilations of you on Wild and Out.
Oh. Thanks for watching that. I appreciate it.
And I definitely see some growth from the beginning till the more recent.
Definitely
stuff.
Open up more.
Yes. Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, I have done a lot of improv classes and stuff, and I think that helps me on there because I was doing a lot of stand up and a lot of improv, and it's a very specific muscle on that show where you have to sometimes improvise, and then other times you can try to come up with stuff, but a lot of it's on the fly. So. It is. I think the improv stuff has helped me because I'm naturally way more of a introvert and like, if anything, more of like thought I'd be a writer growing up because I was like kind of quiet. So it's like very surreal to now do a job where I'm like mostly doing stand up and stuff that's like on stage in front of people. But it is like, I do love it, and it's a lot of fun. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say there was one episode where I saw where you almost had like a choreography, like you were dancing.
Yeah.
That must have been crazy for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of that stuff was super out of my comfort zone, I guess, when I first started. But yeah, so I guess it has been kind of a gradual thing where I've gotten more comfortable with it. But I think because I did always love growing up, just like reading or like any kind of stories or movies, I'd get really into it. So if there's like a creative aspect, like I think, yeah, one of the games on there, you're making up dances and they'll come up with, they're like, make up a dance for a spider. So I just turned it into, I'm like kind of a comic book nerd. So I turned it into like us just acting like I was Spider-Man. And like, if I have like like almost like a writing prompt type lens, I can get into it. But I think when I was little, I actually thought like, oh, that'd be cool to be like really good at dancing. And I joined like the hip hop dance team in high school.
What? That's
and
crazy.
And then I found out everyone was like enjoying it for the wrong reason, where they were like making fun of me. And I think I lost confidence and was like, all right, maybe this is not my thing.
Right.
But
they were laughing at you, not with you.
Yeah, so comedy dancing is a good fit maybe for me, because then it's actually good if they're laughing at you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I have done a bunch of improv classes, including like the musical improv at the Magnet, and that's really fun because you learn how to like make up choreography on the spot and like just kind of mirror each other, so it looks like a boy band style thing where it's like fun to see everyone's on the same page. So I do enjoy that, even though it's very different than my natural like deadpan one-liner mode.
Yeah. Wait, did you just say you did musical improv at the Magnet?
Yeah, the Magnet Theater in New York has 3 levels of musical improv classes. Those were really fun. I also did all the levels of like sketch and improv, regular improv at like UCB, and then a bunch of stuff with Second City and IO when I was in Chicago, and Annoyance Theater. I took a few classes. And Playground Theater, and like Comedy Sports in Chicago, which was more short form. And so I do love like learning all those improv styles, and I still do a team with Armory Comedy. That's we've been doing like a montage, but now we're doing like improvised movie sets, which are really fun, where we're like making up a short movie on the spot. And yeah, I do love that. It's like, I think it has been helpful for my stand up too, just to feel like more comfortable, because I'm not truly, you know, kind of self-conscious, but doing a lot of that I think has helped me hopefully like just get a little more comfortable on stage.
Have you ever said no to one of their games or? Oh,
on Wild and Out?
Yeah.
There's only one game I said no to. I mean, some of them are a lot harder than others. I've always like attempted all of them, but there was one that's like you're on a mechanical bull that's like moving and they're flashing words and you have to like freestyle off the words while you're on the mechanical bull. And I tried that, and it got like, it was like moving around a lot. It like threw me off, and I felt like it like was physically like maybe through, I don't know if it like threw my back out or anything like that, but it was like, I felt like a little like, oh, this feels like unsafe. So that was the one game where I was like, I don't think I can do this again. And luckily there's like, they don't need everyone to do it, because it's like, it's limited time slot for the TV anyway, and they don't even show everyone. So they're like, oh yeah, we got like tons of people on each team, so we'll just have like other people go first.
So did they not show yours?
Yeah, well, yeah. So they just like, I just didn't do it the next time they did it. I mean, I tried it the first time. So the only things I wouldn't do for, it's maybe if there's like physical danger. But yeah, I did all kinds of games on there that are like, you have to like try to make someone laugh who has like water, like try to get them to do a spit take, or like rap battling, musical, making up songs. There's like, I don't know. Yeah, there's like a lot of different types of games. I'm always open to any of that. But even though when I first started, it was like, so yeah, it was definitely out of my comfort zone, having never done anything like that. But I just practiced before the audition by like rap battling my roommates in the living room, and like just trying to like come up with rhymes for words on the spot.
For sure. Yeah.
And luckily it worked out. But yeah, at the time I was like, this seems very unlikely that I'll get to be on this show.
Well, clearly that wasn't the case. You were on the show. You were on the show for a very long time. And and I think getting out of your comfort zone is the important part, right?
No, I think it's super important. Yeah, because I don't know. Yeah, I still try to do that. But yeah, actually, I know some of the producers told me when they first saw me audition, they like told me later, they were like, yeah, we didn't think this was going to work out. But I guess Nick Cannon had seen my stand-up at America's Got Talent and was pushing for me. But I think they said that once they'd see me do well and Wild It Out, and they felt comfortable bringing it up. But one of them was like, yeah, I was like, I thought you were gonna be horrible on the show.
Well, yeah, but I mean, clearly you weren't, and you were on there for a very long time. But I think that's what made you so successful, is because you kind of were like the wild card, right?
Yeah, it weirdly worked out. I think just having a different kind of look and vibe and energy level than a lot of people on the show, I think was helpful, because even like my first season, a lot of times I felt like the audience was kind of rooting for me right away, as like I just seemed like a fish out of water or like an underdog, because there were so many people there that were like very like big energy and like charismatic and like stylish and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
I think that did I had almost like lower expectations, which definitely helped when I was starting out on there. Like maybe the bar was kind of lower for
right.
stuff, but it definitely helped. If I said anything that was a good joke, I feel like they were really nice about it. So that was fun.
For sure. Yeah. Do you still keep in contact with the guys?
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, like Rip Michaels is someone I met on there a season or two, a couple seasons in maybe. But he's been doing comedy a long time, and he actually, has booked me on a lot of great shows. He's like really good at stand up, but also like promoting shows, and like he's put on he kind of put on the Wild 'N Out tour a lot of places like Madison Square Garden and stuff. And he had me on a show at like the Barclays Center with like Lil Kim and T.I. and a bunch of people.
Oh shit.
Which was very surreal to do comedy for like 15,000 people. And he had me on like the Apollo Theater last year when he was taping something there. And that was really fun. But yeah, I stay in touch with a bunch of people, including him. Mikey Day, I saw recently backstage at like a Broadway show at Spam-A-Lot. And I guess some of the other people I'll see them occasionally, but there's like a few people in New York. Lucas Arnold joined Wild Now recently, and I think I'm actually doing like a local roast battle with him, just kind of for fun soon.
Oh, okay,
but
cool.
But yeah, pretty soon. But yeah, so it is cool to see it. There's like so many different generations of people too, and then I've done shows with some of the people that were on there before me too, like Corey Holcomb or random people. But but yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, it's like definitely an interesting community for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, plus you had a pretty long run. Like you had 12 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody has that long of a run.
No, I feel super lucky. I've done 12 seasons, and I think I'm supposed to do another one, but it's been on kind of a long hiatus, so who knows what's going to happen.
When was the last time you worked on the show?
It was, at this point, it's probably been maybe a couple of years or something. I don't know exactly, but I've kind of, the last few years I've done it more on and off as they've like brought in a lot of new people and stuff.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times they'll do like old school versus new school, and I'll come in as like, I guess I'm old school now because I started in season 5.
Right.
They're on like season 21 or 22 or something. But yeah, it's always fun to get to go back, and I hope it comes back soon. I don't know what's going on with that, but
heck yeah. Who else has been on it for? Maddie Smith's been on it for.
Yeah, she has been on it for a while. I mean, I think she started a few seasons after me, but now she's been really killing it on there for a while. And then I'm trying to think.
Akash got his start on there.
Yeah, I remember working with him a long time ago.
Akash Singh, yeah,
I met him through there. We did a couple of college gigs together and stuff after that, and he was always like really good with crowd work before I think it blew up as much as like a thing now. But I mean, now obviously he's doing super well. But I remember meeting him, when he was kind of figuring out his lane and everything, and
right.
He was always really funny.
Yeah,
but
it's a good launching pad.
Yeah, no, Wild 'N Out's like it's a great launching pad. There's been so many like other comedians who I've seen have like weekend headlining spots at like comedy clubs and stuff that I don't think I would have ever known who they were if it wasn't for Wild 'N Out.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Meeting so many different types of people in there, and then sometimes people like Kevin Hart, who was originally in it, will like come back and do like guest star on episodes, and that's like always really fun to like see people like that come back. But I love doing it. I hope it happens again, but it's been a fun gig either way. But
of course, but you've used it to its benefit, right? So now you're working on the road. Now you're trying to now you're doing headlining gigs on weekends and stuff.
I've been doing so I've been doing stand up for like 17 and a half years. And yeah, I feel pretty lucky. I guess I've really been doing comedy full time since like 2012 when I did America's Got Talent. So that was kind of.
How far did you make it on the show?
I did 4 rounds. So I was in the semifinals.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, that was when I was 23. So I felt like in a little over my head, but I got some good footage out of it. And then I was in my last round, didn't go as well as I wanted. So I was like, at the time, like felt like I blew my chance at a career in show business, but
it didn't because Nick Cannon brought that up.
Yeah, luckily it worked out.
Yeah.
I got very lucky, I feel like, but yeah.
Usually the case is the winners don't even do much. It's always the people that were runner up.
Yeah, like Daughtry. I don't even think Daughtry won, but he blew up.
Oh, are you talking about American Idol?
Oh, but still similar.
Yeah, the year I did it was Latte Dogs won, which are dogs that do like backflips and stuff. So
I don't even know who they are.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long of a life dogs have. I'm not even sure if they're still alive.
Poor dogs.
I mean, maybe they are. Maybe they're doing great. I don't know. But actually my first agent was a magician who I met through a mind reader that I met at America's Got Talent. And our agency for colleges was just the 3 of us. And then he went on America's Got Talent a couple years later, and he actually won the whole thing. And he like headlines a show in Vegas.
What? Who?
Matt Franco. He's just great guy, very talented.
And this guy was your agent?
He was my agent. Yeah.
Wow.
So he's like, after he won America's Got Talent, he's like, I don't think I can
Yeah, I got my own
get
shit
you college gigs anymore. I'm a little busy now. He's like doing primetime specials for Magic on NBC and stuff now. But yeah, no, he was always really nice and humble, and it was really cool to see that happen. But then I was like, I need to find a new agent.
I need to find another magician.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, that was a crazy.
Yeah, no, that's cool. There's quite a few America's Got Talent pops, right? Or maybe not pops, but people that made it quite far. Like Gary Veter made it pretty far.
Yeah, he did well in there.
And but he didn't win. But now he's opening up for Marill, and he's got a pretty successful.
Yeah, he has a great new special out.
Yes, and now he's bald and he looks angry.
Great joke writer.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you remember Veter when he had hair? He looked so friendly. Now he just looks so intimidating.
Angry?
Yeah. The lack of hair, I feel like, makes you look mad. Yeah.
We'll bring up a picture of Veter so people know who that is.
But yeah, Veter got pretty far. Preacher Lawson got pretty far.
Yeah, he did well. I feel like he's doing really well. I don't know.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. But yeah, those America's Got Talent pops, they mean something. I know a lot of comics who are like, I'm never going to do that. That's so dumb. I'm like, no, if you get far enough, it could actually really help your career.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have anything else like new. I didn't have an agent or anything, so that was just one of the few things I could do early on to like. Yeah, I think it was helpful, even though it was kind of a bittersweet experience or whatever. But yeah, so yeah.
The problem, did you have a story? They love a story.
Yeah. I think they just wanted like a awkward, nerdy comedian or something. I don't know what they were looking for, but I'm glad.
Did you live on the streets? Did you have to struggle for food?
The way they edited it made it look like I'd never done comedy before. They wanted to do like a Susan Boyle thing where like it went well, and my first round, and I got like a standing ovation from the judges and the audience. And so I think after that they did a lot of interviews to make it go before that to really like play up, like they wanted to play into the fact that I was a real estate agent, which was just like a part-time job. Like I'd been doing mostly comedy for a few years and was really into it. But they tried to make it seem like
that you were a real estate agent.
Yeah, which I guess
dabbling into comedy.
That was the angle they wanted. But yeah, I didn't have inspirational story enough to maybe stand out in the later rounds.
You weren't homeless for 3 years?
Yeah.
What is your story? How'd you get into stand-up?
Well, I got really into it. I was a fan of it growing up. I was always really into comedy, and I was, like I said, I thought maybe I'd be like more of like a writer or something, but I was really into like theater and movies and any kind of like storytelling or entertainment. But I guess I also struggled with kind of like connecting with people socially. I felt like I had like kind of was like a little shy or like introverted or kind of had like limited social skills or whatever. So I was like, I don't know if I can do that, but maybe I'll do like a behind the scenes thing, like some kind of writing or maybe camera
So
operating or something.
what pushed you to do your first open mic?
Well, I guess at that point it was my freshman year of college. Also, I guess when I graduated high school, it was a small school, so anyone who wanted to.
Well, where are you originally from?
I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
So yeah, like I went to a grade school that was kind of artsy, and that's where I think I did get really into like writing and reading and like wanting to make stuff. And like in middle school, I did these like, it was called the Young Authors Contest in my hometown, and I like won some of the, I think maybe at the regional level, but it would be like all the school district kids would like write these stories, and it would get like judged, and people would advance to different levels. And so I think I might have peaked in middle school, honestly. That was like, I was reading through it. I'm like, wow, I wrote a lot. Then I might actually publish those as a short book at some point.
Some would argue that you peaked in MTV too.
Yeah, exactly. But then, yeah, I wasn't even allowed to watch a lot of TV growing up. So I hadn't even seen like Wild and Out or had cable when I grew up. So I was like, didn't know much about it when I started. But yeah, when in high school, I would like audition for everything, but I like barely got cast. So I'm like, I don't know if this is like a thing I could do, I guess. So I'm like, I don't know. But then it was a small high school, so anyone who wanted to could give a speech at graduation. So I did actually speak at my graduation in high school, and
Did you kill?
I think I did okay. Like it wasn't stand up, but that was like, I think I turned in one speech, and I think I did something totally different where I was just like trying to get laughs and under the guise of a speech. And I didn't even have like internet access much in high school, but I think one week I was like cat sitting for a neighbor, and through his like YouTube, I like watched a lot of stand up, and I'm like, and I like read, I remember like, I didn't really know how to, like, there weren't really podcasts or anything. Like I just like read about stand up in like Reader's Digest. Like my parents had like a Reader's Digest and they just said like, oh, you have to like be creative and work hard. I'm like, I think I could do that. And then I saw one time on like TV randomly, I think Monique was talking about like, to do stand up, you have to like not have feel like the audience owes you anything, but like you have an obligation to the audience. And like that stood out to me. But yeah, so then my freshman year of college, I guess I was a big fan of like Conan and other like stand-up comedians I'd seen on TV and stuff, and had seen it briefly on like a trip to New York in high school. But then, yeah, my first week of college, I think I saw someone do like an open mic, which was the first time. Yeah, it was like someone in my class doing stand-up at this open mic that was mostly like poetry and music. Mm-hmm. So that was the first time I saw someone do it at like a non-professional level, and that was when it first clicked of like, oh, you can actually like do this before you're like someone who's on TV and like knows how to do it and everything. So I just decided, I think the next open mic was a couple weeks later, and I just told a few friends I was going to do it. And I was pretty terrified and would just like writing down all these ideas. I like ran some of them past my roommate, and he thought it all sucked or whatever. But and then my friends were there, so I felt like accountable. Like I had to go through with it, but I was like, yeah, terrified. I was like, felt physically sick, like I was gonna like throw up or have diarrhea or something. And then, but I did it, and it was really fun. I mean, I'm sure it was like an overly supportive crowd because it was all other kids on the college campus. So
sure,
I'm sure it was like, you know, a very generous crowd. But I felt like it went well. I didn't like tape it or anything, but I definitely got hooked from that and just kind of kept doing it. And then I think the other guy I knew who was doing it like stopped. So then I was just kind of kept doing stand up, but there was like no other comedian. It was literally all like just poetry and music and stuff at these open mics, and no, like it was a small college town. So there wasn't even like a comedy club in town or anything else.
Right.
But I just got really into it. So then I would do it wherever I could, which was there. And then I would sometimes drive to Madison and, cause I was going to college. Yeah, I was going to college in Beloit, Wisconsin. So I would sometimes like drive to a bar open mic there, or on college breaks, I would do it. I started doing it at this club in my hometown, the Caravan Comedy Club at the time. And then there wasn't much of a comedy scene there at the time either, but yeah, I would just do whatever open mics I could. And so, yeah, it was just kind of a gradual thing where during college I was doing it a lot, and eventually ended up getting more gigs and stuff. I also, instead of studying abroad, I spent like a year of college in Chicago, and that's where I was able to get a lot more like stage time and stuff.
Right.
And do more actual improv classes, because my college also did have an improv group, but I auditioned a few times or a couple of times and like never could get into it. So I just kept doing like open mics since that was like And then I think similar to high school, I would like audition for plays and usually not get cast or anything. So I'm like, at least stand up, I can just like keep doing it whether I get chosen for something or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just kind of did it a while, and I think by the time I graduated, I was like, kind of occasionally did featuring or doing stuff, and then about a year after college was when I did America's Got Talent, and I had started doing more like hour sets at colleges, occasionally starting then and doing more headlining. And I mean, that was like kind of a gradual transition into like headlining on the road. But yeah, I guess I always enjoyed doing it since I started, even though I had a lot of rocky first gigs. Like, I think in like 2010, I was like maybe 2 or 3 years into comedy, and I got like this one gig in my hometown, like emceeing at a comedy club. And they fired me after the first night. Like, it was supposed to be a Thursday through Sunday.
No, what
and
happened?
I was I think hosting for John Panette, but the club, I don't know whose decision. I think it was the club manager's decision or something. But he thought it was like too low energy or something, and like fired me. And then like a month later, I think it was when I'd moved to Chicago for that semester, maybe my sophomore or junior year. Mm-hmm. And then I got booked somewhere there, like hosting at a comedy club in the suburbs of Chicago. And I actually got fired like 7 minutes in to like another weekend where they lit me early, and they had someone else actually go up and host the rest of the show, like after the feature got off stage.
7 minutes.
Same thing because of the low energy.
Yeah, same thing. And then, and then, I mean, I did a joke about this on my first one, but literally I like went back to headline there a few years later after I did America's Got Talent. They were like, wanted to book me again.
Of course.
And he was like, I thought that was cool. Like, even though you got fired, you stuck around to watch the show to study comedy and get better. And I was like, no, I had to stay because the other comedian was my ride home, which is true. But, so that was like, and then even my first time featuring, I was like, it was like in like a horrible setting for comedy where it was like this restaurant for like, maybe there were like 3 couples at different tables that weren't there, like just to eat at the restaurant. And I was supposed to do like a feature set, and the owner like hated it so much. And then we did like a second show somehow, and it was also, and then afterwards he was supposed to like pay us in the office, and he just, instead of paying me, he was like, I can't pay you because he's like, you're not good at comedy. And he was like he was literally like giving me this long speech, like trying to convince me to quit comedy.
But don't they know your comedy before hiring you? Like, don't they know what?
I don't know. I think a lot of those situations, because I would do well when it was like a warmed up crowd. Mm-hmm. Like, so I think I had like, even early on, like I think I got booked at the place in Chicago emceeing because of, like, I had a good tape from, like, I did a showcase at Zany's, and it was like a really good crowd. And I also probably had some friends there. So it was like, if the crowd was warmed up, like I was always like good at, like early, at that point, at least I had like jokes that would do well if the crowd was listening. But then I was like getting thrown into situations where I was like going up cold and then like warming up the crowd, which is like such a different skill set, like hosting or going up in a restaurant where they're not paying attention or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think, it was a struggle, especially early on in those situations. And then, I think the owner of that one club even said something like, he was like, he was like, this is different than the video, or like what that crowd, he was like saying like it was just, but I'm like, I mean,
he's like, this
I did the same jokes. Like, I don't know. Like, I can't control the audience's response, but I told the same jokes, and they got more laughs there. Like, I don't know. It's like very confusing when you're like, well, I did exactly what I did there. It's just,
just not everything lined up the way.
Yeah. It's just, so that was definitely a struggle.
Would you say those are your worst gigs, or do you have like a worst gig story? Or weird.
Surprisingly, no, I don't think those were my worst. Like, I had other.
Wasn't your worst?
Yeah, like I did. Yeah. I remember when I first moved to New York. So this was probably 2014 or something. Mm-hmm. I did a crew. This actually, it might have been. Okay, so this was on. It was like gonna be a comedy on like a cruise ship that was like going to the Statue of Liberty. But it was kind of like a party cruise.
I did that.
Really?
Yeah, I did it with Michael Harrison. I don't know.
Okay, this was a different. Yeah, okay. I don't think it was the same thing. It was through someone from Wildland, actually. So I was also like maybe the only white guy there, but it was like I mean, it was very fun. Like, everyone was drinking and dancing and stuff. But then it was like several hours in, we'd already like redocked, the cruise was basically over, and then they're like, all right, we're gonna start the comedy show. And so it was like a dance floor. They just turn off the music, and everyone's just standing like, why is the music off? There's no chairs. And then I just did stand up, and a few other people did stand up, and so that was I definitely got like booed at that, and there was like no seating, so it'd be like people like jogging towards you and booing.
Whoa.
I mean, there were other comedians getting booed too, but it was definitely not
the jogging boo.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I had another one. It was like I was opening for Juicy J from 3-6 Mafia. Again, I think I was filling in for someone from Wild Out. It was like very high energy, but they were like, we want you to go out and do like 2 different long sets, and there's like a lot of music, and it's an outdoor concert with like people just standing in the sun. And I think there was another guy doing music on the show, but yeah, it was like one of those things where I definitely lost the crowd and was like,
so that's one
there was
thing
like people throwing stuff on stage. It was really bad.
Well, that's one thing I find super interesting is like, so a lot of the feature work you've done for some of these Wild and Out artists, right?
I've done a bunch of stuff with people from there, and
yeah, which I'm assuming, you know, not to sound like racist or anything, but they're black. And they probably have like all black rooms.
I've done a lot of I've done a lot of road gigs in like predominantly black rooms. I mean, I've done all kinds of gigs. Like sometimes I've done plenty of rooms where it's mostly
when you work on the
people.
Wild and Out stuff, though.
But yeah, sometimes I've done shows on the road with people from Wild Out where it was like a mostly black crowd sometimes, which is like sometimes awesome and can be like if the crowd's and a lot of it also just depends on like the contact. Like I said, like if the crowd's like warmed up, like sometimes it goes great or it's whatever.
Well, that's what I'm curious. So when they're expecting, you know, this headliner to do like all these jokes that resonate with the crowd, and then you show up to feature, how does it like? Is it usually like work? Is it receptive?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I think I've done. Yeah, sometimes it goes great. Like I've done a few shows with. Yeah, a long time ago. I think I used to do the road sometimes with like Shantae Wayans or Rip Michaels or Carlos Miller, other people from Wild 'N Out, Chico Bean. It just depends. Yeah, I've done. It's kind of gone all kinds of ways. Like I said, like if it's not a crowd that's super into my style, it might be tough. But other times it goes great. I mean, I tend to do okay in like college gig settings. I think are more into my style maybe. But yeah, I don't know. It's like it's very unpredictable.
Yeah, because like. I mean, I've featured for a lot of comics. The one comic that I thought I was going to have an issue with, Marlon Wayans. I featured for Marlon Wayans. You know, the crowd is there to see Marlon Wayans. They're there to see Marlon Wayne type jokes. And then I go up and I feature for him. Right. And I actually had a really good set. That's great. It was actually that night where I was like, I think these old black crowds are my crowds. Sure. You know? But the host that went up, he was white.
Okay.
And not like he wasn't bad, but he, you know, his energy was a little bit lower. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't
What are you gonna say? Go ahead.
It wasn't what they were expecting, you know?
Yeah.
And they weren't having him. So like I watched the host go up and I watched the host bomb, and then I'm like, shit, should I even bother? Should we just say the feature left, and should we just bring Marlon up? You know, like, but then I went up and it was actually really good.
Yeah, sometimes it's great. I did a random show on New Year's Eve that was kind of tough, where like the host was like bombing a lot and doing like 10 minutes in between everyone, and then it was like, this was just kind of random local comics, like, but then my spot was like, I was supposed to do a 15-minute spot that started like at 11:52 p.m. So then I had to like deal with the New Year's Eve ball drop like in the middle of my set, and then like transition back into stand up, which is just like the weirdest time to do a set. So that, and then I was also supposed to this was like a random local New York show, but I also like haven't gotten paid, which is annoying. Which I was supposed to get paid for.
Let's clip this out. Send it to that guy.
But yeah, and then even Rip Michaels also had me on. I think I mentioned it, the show at the Barclays Center, which was like I had kind of a uneven set on that. That was like some people were really into it, and then I get to hear like huge pockets of the room like yelling and not enjoying myself. So it's like, yeah, I don't know.
But in a room of 15,000 people, it still probably sounded like you were doing very well.
I actually got some clips out of it that looked good, but then other moments were not so good. But then I think the thing that most out of my comfort zone recently, I did the naked comedy show, and
ass naked, or you still had your
completely
underwear on?
naked.
Dick out, balls out.
Yep.
Whoa.
So that was pretty terrifying. It would actually end up going really well. Like, it was a great crowd, and they make sure no one's like filming or whatever. But going in, I've done it like 3 times now, actually. But it was the first time, especially.
Seems like you like it now.
Well, my friend's like, I don't think I'd want to do that. I'm like, I didn't want to either. I just don't have a lot of other gigs to choose from.
Stage time is stage time.
Yeah, a lot of it getting out my comfort zone isn't by choice. It's just like, all right, I'll take whatever I can get at this point, because it's kind of slow sometimes. But yeah, that was actually really fun. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's like probably good though to be able to figure out how to do well in all types of situations, but it doesn't always work out, obviously. But
how did you do on this dick and balls?
I mean, those shows actually went well. I think the crowd, the first 2 I did were at like kind of a space where I think they do actually, like, other times it was just a comedy show, but they do like sometimes have like sex parties and stuff there. So I think it was and a lot of the people in the audience, like, some of them were naked too, and that it was like a very like supportive vibe.
Nobody asked them to be naked. They're just naked.
I think it was like clothing optional for the first 3 rows.
Nobody's ever asked me to do one of these shows.
But so that was like, the crowds I think were just very supportive as people. Like, I don't even know if they were comedy fans, but they were like listening, and I don't even know if they might have just been happy that someone was like naked, but they were like listening and laughing. And I did one that was in a comedy club that was the naked show, which no one in the crowd was naked, and it went well still, but it was like a little more, it felt like more just like a normal, it felt like they just wanted to hear jokes, which is fine, which is still like a better than average crowd.
But your whole junk was out.
Yeah. So that was pretty intense, but it was like, all right, it's
there's no cloth or anything like that.
No, nothing. But it is weird. You kind of like don't even think about it after like a couple of seconds, and you're kind of more just thinking like, okay, that joke landed, or that didn't quite go how I wanted.
Right. No, so I can imagine
you just kind of are in comedy mode.
Yeah, I can imagine while you're telling the jokes, you're in comedy mode. You don't think about it. But leading up to when you're in the green room and all of you guys are ass naked.
Yeah, well, you can wear like a robe and stuff until like right before. So there's like a little bit of that brief crossover time. But generally, I would just
leave it all out
and then put my clothes on right away, before and right after.
Right.
I did do something I saw. I did steal a Matt Rife move from Wild Out, where I saw him do like push-ups before he went on stage. So I think I did that on one of the naked shows just to
make sure everything
was, seem more in shape.
Everything was engorged. Those naked shows, those sound pretty intimidating. But the fact that you did it 3 times, maybe they're not.
I think speaks to how desperate I am to do any type of comedy gig at this point. I'm like, I'll do anything comedy related. I don't have a day job, and I'm just trying to keep it that way. But
you should put Raj in touch with those guys. So
please don't. I rarely get the laughs when I have my clothes on. I'm definitely not going to get the laughs.
No, I mean, they laugh more. It's like not in a bad way, but it's like I think they're like, they respect the vulnerability or something. I don't know.
Do they laugh as soon as you walk out?
I mean,
if they did, I'd kill myself.
Yeah, no, I will say it's like the show that got me to like diet the most, where I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
All right, I can't really hide behind any type of clothing here. I have to, I know it's not like, I didn't get a 6-pack or anything, but I'm like, all right, I'm probably going to eat a little healthier anytime I have one of those coming up.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, did it work out at the end of the show? Did you go home with a lady or something?
No, nothing like that.
Then what's the point of doing it?
I don't know. I'm still.
He's like, I don't know. I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I still paid a few bucks. I worked out some.
I got to eat dinner.
I got some material out of it. I wrote some bits about it. I don't know.
I got to pay rent.
Do you feel like you were able to work out your jokes better, fully vulnerable like that?
Yeah, well, I wrote a lot of, like the first time especially, I wrote a lot of jokes specific to the situation, and it was like a really hot crowd in terms of laughter. So like, I was able to like do almost a new 5 or 10 minutes just about the situation. And then I kept a few of those jokes just to tell like a story about it, which I put in my new special.
Oh, wow.
Like if,
okay.
so I don't know. Yeah, I think sometimes it's good to do those unusual gigs just to get like a story out of it or a couple of jokes out of it or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I was offered a naked show once when I did the Orlando Indie Comedy Festival out in Orlando, Florida. There was a naked show, and they were like, "Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Get me off the festival! I'm not flying out for this shit.
Sure.
If I need to be naked and look crazy to people, I could just do that outside my apartment." But I said no immediately.
Sure.
But now, in retrospect, after hearing your stories, maybe I should have. I would have had like a whole new
story.
hour. Yeah. Or,
Yeah, well, it's like you said. I think it's like good to get out of your comfort zone, but it's like you don't have to do anything you're not, you don't want to do, obviously. But
Yeah. I don't know if I could. I don't know. Well, so the problem with me is when I'm not ready to go,
yeah,
there's not much to see there.
no, same here.
You're just in the back.
Well,
like,
I was more worried about like I don't know why, but yeah, I think some people will like kind of like fluff themselves or whatever.
Oh, were people
I didn't
fluffing?
do that. I was actually more worried about I was like, what if I get like an inappropriate boner like during
Right.
it never happened because like I said, I just went into like comedian
If anything,
mode.
you would hope for a boner, right?
I
Throughout
guess,
the whole
but then
thing.
that feels like inappropriate or something. But I don't know.
I think the whole thing is already inappropriate.
Yeah,
so.
I was gonna say.
You gotta pass.
Maybe I should have flipped or something, but I went the other way. I was like, I don't
You want to be super soft.
I
You
don't
want to be
wanna-
negative.
the
You wanna-
audience to think this is like my thing. Or like, but no, it was then once you're in there, you're just thinking like a regular set. Like, all right, how's this? What joke should I do next?
The thing that would be going through my head is this, like, like if I chuckle or laugh, because I'm a big comic that laughs at my own jokes.
Yeah.
If I chuckle or laugh when I'm naked,
Yeah.
everything starts shaking, jiggling.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, I will say there's like all types of body types and stuff. I mean, I think you look like you're in good shape. You're doing great or whatever. But
He was struggling to even say that. He was like, you look.
No, but I will say like it's the crowd's like very supportive. They're like kind of it's like all types of people who do it, and it's not even just like super ripped people or I don't know.
It's just everybody all out in the open, letting it all hang.
And the crowd seems like pretty supportive across the board. So, but I totally get why anyone would not want to. I was super like hesitant the first time. It took me a long time to get on board with it, but I'm like,
so where does this show happen? And does it still happen?
I think it still happens. When I did it a couple times at Hacienda and then one time at Bushwick Comedy Club.
Hacienda.
Bushwick.
But I think it kind of moves around and I don't know if I'll do it again. I usually try to not even promote when I am doing it coming up because I don't really want people I know to be there.
Right.
I feel bad not promote other shows I'll promote and whatever. But
have you ever clipped anything out from one of those naked shows?
I thought about it. I think I did put a video from the waist up of my set on like one or two of them on like my Patreon. So if people want to see that, they can see the shirtless cut of the naked show that I did.
Has anybody ever paid extra to see like the full uncropped cut?
I haven't had any inquiries about that. I also don't have that many Patreon people, and some of them are just my parents and my grade school teacher.
That'd be weird. If
So that would be. My parents have already probably seen me naked at some point.
Your mom's like, can I get the full?
you're like, no, mom, I've already said twice.
Yeah. But no, I've thought about that. I have like, the last one I did, I think there was actually like a photographer who took like, again, I think it was like cropped from the waist up, but I'm like, I thought about posting that, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to be the guy who's like posting.
Right. Naked
Topless
clips. Yeah.
photos.
Hey, that could be a thing.
But yeah, I do have clips where, the crowd was really good. So I thought about maybe I'll post a short clip. I don't know. Maybe by the time you see this podcast, I'll have posted it. I almost did it to promote my special taping where I'm like, I got to do anything, but that might have just gotten like fewer people to come. I don't know.
Be like, there was a lot of interest, and then I posted this clip, and then what happened?
So I don't know what to do, but yeah, maybe I'll eventually be more open about it. I don't know.
That's okay. It sounds like you were already pretty open.
Sure. At that for that crowd that night, those nights, absolutely.
So like, okay. So this It probably didn't happen, but I gotta ask:
Okay.
did anybody show their butthole?
Oh, I mean, there. I don't know. I mean, there was one person who was. I think one of the times I did it, this one lady was doing a bit about maybe like a OBGYN or something, and she like literally was on the stool like showing her
She spread.
vagina, like
Whoa!
prying it open, and it was all part of the bit. It wasn't like but it was very.
It's a bit that she normally does.
Yeah, I think so.
With clothes
Honestly,
on.
Clothes on.
so it was a real peek behind the curtain, so to speak. But
Oh my gosh! Peep behind those
But-
meat curtains.
Yeah.
How many curtains?
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure. Yeah, I think some people made it like taking their set list out of their vagina, like things like that.
Whoa! Like in there, it was
Yeah,
all
I think
up in
at
there.
least one person did that. I don't even. Yeah,
That's crazy.
Pretty good.
Jeez, we got to go to one of these.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, as an audience member, they're I'm sure a lot of fun as well.
You know how like the end of like a concert, you're like, throw me your drumsticks.
Yeah.
I would totally be like, throw
Can
me
I get
that
the set
list. It's like soggy.
I've seen the hacienda crowds. They're not. I don't know. Everyone is beautiful, but
I'm not saying nobody's beautiful. I'm just saying like I want that wet piece of paper.
I was responding to wanting to go to one of those shows. The hacienda. I don't. I'm sure they're great, but the
Yeah.
crowd was never. They never seemed like my kind of.
Same thing with the Bushwick Comedy Club. Those
Well, yeah, that was weirder because it was like almost just a normal comedy club audience. Like they laughed an appropriate amount, but it wasn't. They weren't like. They were almost like not even noticing that you were naked. They were just like, "All right, what's the next joke?" You're like, "All right, so I can do that as well." I can
Listen,
do
your
my normal
balls
stuff,
aren't
no
gonna
problem."
get the laughs. I need to hear something.
It was not as riff friendly that night, but it was still a really good crowd. So I'm like, all right.
That's crazy. More power to you. I don't think I could ever do something like that. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I wish it was because again, mostly out of just desperation for gigs. I'm like, I just want to stay a working comic.
This is what
However many
stage
clothes
time will
after.
do to you in New York City. This is what
Yeah. So I don't know.
Thoughts on the new pope?
thoughts on the new Pope. He's American.
So I'm so disappointed they didn't choose me. I am eligible as a baptized Catholic growing up who hasn't gone to church in a while. But no, that's I don't know much about it. My family has been talking a lot about it because
First American Pope. I think his last name is like Pizzaiola.
It's just a regular guy.
He's from Chicago.
He is from Chicago. Just can you imagine? Just think, like you were hanging with a buddy at a bar, and then 10 years later, he became the Pope. Like, what would go through your
Yeah,
head?
I think I saw some clip. There was like a lady who
Yes.
Yes.
hooked up with him.
Yes.
She was 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I don't know much about him honestly, but I guess
Well, whether you know anything
He's
about him or
American,
not,
that's
but just
fun.
like, how would you react if, like, let's say right now,
yeah.
10 years from now, I became the Pope, and you're like, man, I did
that'd
a
be cool.
podcast with this guy, and he was talking about his dick and balls. Like,
Yeah, that would be fun. I don't know. That would be cool to know.
That video
Pope, I guess.
was kind of insane.
that was insane.
There-
But was
she
it
was-
real? Was it verified?
I don't know.
I mean, she was
It could
on-
have just been someone with the same name.
Yeah.
She was on. We're talking about the same video. She's on like a Zoom call with her
She's
mom.
on a Zoom
family.
call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
With her
yeah.
mom, and the TV's on the background, and then she realizes that she was in a situationship with the Pope.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about it. I mean, I've been to the Vatican. It's really impressive that they built that with no technology at the time. They were just like had to fill the whole thing up with
Right.
like thousands of tons of dirt just to get like the dome or whatever. And I was raised super Catholic. My parents are very Catholic, so they're like very into it. I'm not as religious now, but I was raised like going to church a lot, and I guess the Pope is like
Ever
a big
since,
part of that.
ever since the naked show, he's like, I'm not religious anymore.
But I don't know. I guess I saw a conclave, so I guess I get it. I get how
Well-
it works, but
Well, we do have to wrap up soon. But speaking of conclave,
Yeah.
one last thing before we head out.
I
what
mean,
did you,
I
what did you
showed
think of
off
that?
my conclaves at that naked shit, but like conclave just
All of them. But what
yeah.
did you think? What did you think of conclave?
Oh man,
Honestly.
I don't know. I was when I saw the trailer, I was like, I'm not gonna watch this because I think I just being raised Catholic, where both sides of my parents' families, and my parents are like so Catholic and like very religious and go to church every week and participate. My dad was in the seminary. He almost became a priest. I think because it was like so drilled into me, and I know like so many friends that are Catholic that I think do it in a really cool way. But like I think since it was so drilled into me growing up, I'm almost like don't want to watch anything about it now. So I was like really hesitant. And then it got all the great like reviews and Oscar nominations. So I'm like, all right, I got to see this. And I think it was like kind of overhyped to me because I enjoyed it, but I was like, I guess I've seen so many like whodunits and stuff. I thought it was going to be there'd be like some kind of a twist where it was like a murder mystery or something. I mean, it was like really good acting and entertaining, but I guess I was just like, and there are like twists, but I wasn't like blown away. I was just like, all right, it was something.
Yeah, it just hold on. Well, before I reveal anything else,
should we have like spoiler alert here?
No, well, Eric, did you see it?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I'm watching Severance right now, but it's okay. I'm probably not going to watch it.
Are you 100% definitely never going to watch Conclave?
Either that or I'm not going to remember this conversation.
Also, I should ask everyone who's watching or listening to this podcast.
All 11 of you.
If you want to fast forward like 3 minutes.
All 27 people that watch this.
But so the twist at the okay, fine. Without revealing any spoilers, I think the twist at the end was a twist just to be a twist.
Yeah, the twist didn't do much for me. I was like, all right,
yeah,
that's cool.
I feel like they were like, we need to make a political statement. And then like, let's just throw this in at the end.
Yeah, I think it was based on a book too, which was like slightly different. But I'm like, maybe when the book came out, that would have been like a bigger thing. But it's one of those things where you're like, there's so many crazy things in the actual news now where you're like, that's not even like a big deal.
That's not even, exactly.
Or maybe just being in New York and being around so many points of view. But like for Catholics, that would maybe be a big deal or whatever. I don't know.
The timing of it is kind of crazy though, with the Pope dying, no?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know anything about the show, but I imagine.
Well, I mean, a lot of people. Yeah,
it's all about the politics of electing the Pope.
We don't even know if the Pope died naturally. It sounds like it was an assassination for fancy.
JD Vance.
Yeah, took him out by boring the shit out of him.
Do you have any plugs, Jacob?
No, this is my real hair, but
nice.
Well, my TikTok, I think we were talking about before we aired, someone hacked into my TikTok and destroyed it. So don't follow me on there, but you can find me on Instagram and stuff.
Well, so real quick though, like you had what, 50,000 followers on TikTok?
On TikTok, yeah, something hacked? Like that.
And you're not even panicked. You're like, this sucks.
Honestly, I hate TikTok. I'm glad to not even have to deal with it anymore.
I had a buddy of mine who had 5,000 followers on TikTok.
Okay.
5,000.
Okay.
Shit got hacked and he started losing his mind.
Yeah. I think I'm weirdly calm about things like that because I'm like, it's out of my control. Like it sucks, but I'm like, I can't change it. I don't know. I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm a stoic philosopher, but I'm like, well,
but also like, I
mean, I'll get frustrated about little things all the time, but then certain things I'm like, well, I can't. It's annoying, but I'm like, I guess it's gone. Like, I'm
gone.
Like,
I can't do anything about it. Yeah.
But I am on Instagram and Threads and X at Mr. Jacob Williams or like Mr. Jacob Williams on there. And I do have a comedy special, Unemotional Roller Coaster, on YouTube, which I think you can also hear randomly on SiriusXM or it's on like Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that. I just taped a second one, which will hopefully be out somewhere in the near future. It might take me a while to edit it because I'm being really OCD about it. But
as you should be, it's your own special.
Yeah, I do have some tour dates coming up. I think I'm in Chicago on June 29th and some other stuff, maybe Atlanta, maybe Louisville, a few other things in the works. We'll see. But yeah, mostly doing a lot of shows around here too, and posting stuff on Instagram and about local New York shows on there. So I don't know. Yeah, I think that's
heck yeah. Is it so? I mean, I know you're from Louisville. You blew up on Wild and Out. Now you go back every now and then to headline stuff. Do a lot of like your friends and family from like high school and college come out to see you?
Yeah, they do. I actually did shows there recently, and some people I knew when I was like a little kid that were neighbors came to the show and bought T-shirts, which I appreciated. My dad or my mom, like my parents will come to shows. A lot of family friends will come. I also, during the pandemic, I kind of made friends with, or I'm like almost frenemies with someone who I was doing this live streaming app, and people could like, I said like if people tipped me, I'd sing any karaoke song they wanted. And one of the people on there from my hometown, we would just kind of roast each other a lot. And she would always like request the most embarrassing songs, like all the songs by Cupcake the Rapper, which are very graphic sexually things that I wouldn't be into. And I was just like rapping them, having never heard the song and being like, oh geez, this is a lot to process. That was almost more embarrassing than the naked show. But yeah, but I'm like, yeah, she is like someone I'm friends with now IRL and will like come to shows. She's like someone who's not a comedian, but is very funny as like a streamer and stuff. And then, yeah, I actually have family friends from down the street also that were Catholic and have 11 kids in their family.
Jeez.
That are like, I was the same age as like some of the ones in the middle, and most of them now have like families and stuff, but I'll go back and hang out with those. We'll like go to like a state park and have like very elaborate activities planned, like an air hockey tournament and this game Assassin or Mafia, and like a lot of hiking, and that's always really fun. So yeah, I always loved going back to see my family there, and then my mom's family is in Wisconsin, so I'm going to visit them soon too, and go on like a kind of another family vacation there. So I don't know. Yeah, I feel very lucky to have.
That's awesome, dude. Who's another? Wait, 1 second. Who's another big hometown celebrity? Jack Harlow.
Oh yeah, Jack Harlow is from my hometown.
He's Louisville.
Yep. Yeah,
has he ever come out to one of your shows?
I don't think so. I will say, I think when I was taping my special, there's someone I met at the SNL after party who was in some movies I've seen, and I guess their friend like messaged me about both of them coming to the special, but I didn't see it in time. They were like, "Oh, it's sold out. Can you put us on the?" But I didn't see it in time, so I'm like, "Oh, that would have been cool."
That's crazy.
I could have had someone I've watched in movies there. Yeah. That would have been nice. But yeah, Muhammad Ali is from Louisville. Jennifer Lawrence, Jack Harlow,
JLaw.
I'm sure some other people I'm forgetting.
Yeah,
I'm from there. That's probably the most famous person from there. But way more than those other people I mentioned. But I don't know. But no, it's a fun place to visit.
Heck yeah.
I'm now.
I've done
segue out of comedy into the Louisville tourism board, I guess. But
I've done some stuff out in Lexington.
But
I've actually never done anything out of Louisville.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, sorry. What were you saying?
I was gonna say I saw you like 10 years ago with my girlfriend of like 8 years. We were at Atlantic City.
Oh, wow.
We had been together for like 5-6 years, and that was the first time she had farted in front of me.
Wow, and this was you went to like a show I did in Atlantic City?
Yes. I don't know if we were already there, and I was like, let's go see Jacob, or we went out, it might have been a kill two birds with one stone.
Okay, so it was like the Atlantic City Comedy Club. Was this when it was like in the kind of the part of the hotel where there was like a bar, but it was like almost like
it was kind of like they threw you in this random area in the place. It was kind of dark and just like secluded. It was
I did a few versions. One time it was in almost like a repurposed nightclub. One time it was kind of this in between area. And then they also sometimes I did one at the Celebrity Theater there, and that was really fun. But wow, well, thanks for coming to that show.
There was one comedy club in Atlantic City where the owner was notorious for never paying the comics.
Oh, luckily I don't think I did that one, but there was one I did where there was someone who came to see me because they knew me from Wild Out, but then they were like, it was this lady who was like heckling a lot and like I think leaving to do cocaine and supposedly and allegedly and coming back, and like it is weird because Wild Out seems so interactive, like a Whose Line Is It Anyway style, like improv.
Like, why would you
leave? I think sometimes when I do comedy shows, people think like, oh, it's improv, so I can just yell out stuff during his set, and that'll like I've had people try to rap battle me. They're like walk to the front of the stage and be like rap battle me while I'm doing stand up.
Shit.
I'm like, I mean, that's not really what I'm here to do at this moment. But
what would you have done if like you saw a couple in the crowd and the girl farted in front of her boyfriend, and he was
I do remember that now that Eric
you've
mentioned
never
it.
done that before.
I was like, wow. Remind me not to do a podcast with that guy.
I did just turn to her and go, "Did you fart?" She just kind of just gave me the yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's a big milestone in there.
That's a
That was
big milestone. That's a huge
that was like
How was it? Can I ask how did the show go? Okay, because I went there. I don't remember which one that was. Was that one okay, or was that one with a crazy heckler or something?
No, there was no heckler.
Oh, that's
I don't
good.
really remember how it went.
All right, that's fair.
I mean, it was so good that his girlfriend felt like she could fart in front of him.
Yeah, I
This
make people very comfortable. My comedy is also tends to be an aphrodisiac for.
That is all. That is the
Couples.
only thing I remember about that night was that she farted
All
for the
right,
first
glad
time
my
in 6
comedy was
years.
very memorable. I guess. I mean, I can't compete with farts. They're way funnier than anything I'm gonna come up with. So, that's
But buy
understandable.
tickets to Jacob Williams.
buy
Thank you,
tickets.
JacobWilliamsComedy.com.
He
There's
will.
none left.
He
It's-
will take your relationship to the next level.
Absolutely. Please part of my shows. Oh yeah, I'm doing Clarkson University too coming up. I don't know. I guess you can't get tickets to that because it's a private. But yeah, please come to a show in New York
yeah.
or wherever I'm at.
Go see this guy.
Sign up
He's
for my email
hilarious.
list once I make one together.
He's hilarious. I've seen him on a bunch of shows. I think we've even done a couple of shows.
Oh, yeah,
together,
for
but
sure.
He's very, very funny.
Thanks,
And
likewise.
yeah, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
This was definitely some really good insight into you. I don't think anybody's ever heard the Dick and Balls version of you before.
Yeah, I try to not let that.
That's
out.
who we should have did this
Maybe
episode.
we should cut that out. But no, it's fine.
We should have just had you naked the whole episode.
That's
and
what we fucked up.
sure.
We should have done, and you would have done it if I promised
know
you some
about that.
stage time after.
that might be the new gimmick for the show.
That's kind of a situation specific.
But yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe moving forward, we'll have the naked episode, and we'll reserve it for people like Jake.
Definitely.
It's only when Jacob
I'm retired
comes.
from naked comedy. That was the perfect amount of time.
Three is the perfect amount of times.
Yeah.
But yes, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate for doing the show, and definitely check
Thanks
him
for having
out.
me.
He's super funny.
Thank you.
And he's always touring around New York and then across the country doing the road stuff.
Thanks.
And
Likewise.
check out his special. It's going to be funny. And if he actually lets it get finished,
I'll get there eventually. I'm doing it 5 seconds a day at the editing, but I'll eventually get through that.
That's how you know it's going to be good. 'Cause
Yeah, really
he's
sculpting
literally
it.
working on it daily until it comes out. So, but yeah, Eric, what do you got going on?
Just this.
Okay, never changes. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Raj Against the Machine. I hope you guys had a good time. And if you like what you saw, follow us on the gram, follow us on Facebook, and sorry, not Facebook.
You can follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, follow. Yeah, click on the link
don't know
below for YouTube.
I don't ever put a link.
in the comments. Comment, subscribe.
I never do that.
We're just pointing at nothing. But yes, follow us, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys so
Later.
much. Bye. That was fun, dude.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks for having me.